Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we have a Raw review for the October 8th, no, 6th episode. I was like backing it up, and I don't know, I screwed it up. But yeah, this was a interesting card because I actually had a lot of matches. I say a lot, five is a lot for for Raw, where they actually gave them a decent amount of time, even though I think the main event probably could have used a little bit because it kind of suffered from being just kind of a quick one. But let's just jump into it. We started with the OTC Roman Reigns coming down the talk. It basically just became, a thing between him and Bronson Reed, the tribal thief. I kind of hate that they're just kind of running this back to a certain extent. It's like I know getting Bronson Reed a match on the perf card is a good idea, but I think they should have just went with the men's tag matches. I think those two should have went against the Judgment Day, and I think that would have been the better match. Like I really feel like that would have been the better match to put here. Like Roman's definitely a needle mover, and he's good to have there, but it just feels kind of pointless to run this back just so fast before we really got much of anything. Like he just kind of like put him on the shelf for 2 months, and then it's just they're gonna have it back. I think the promo itself I thought was pretty solid. I put it up in an A, and the match that they announced for Perf I'd probably put into B. It's just not gonna be my fave. I'm gonna be completely honest. I just feel like running this again is just kind of pointless. It's not like we're getting that like heavily crazy rivalry like when they ran CM Punk and Drew McIntyre 3 times, or like just like a really good just crazy matchup between like wrestlers. We're getting none of that, so it just kind of feels like it's kind of thrown on that card just to get Bronson Reed on it and Roman Reigns. They both didn't have anything to do, so they just did it again. Then we have Maxine Dupree versus Becky Lynch. This was an interesting match because I think I vibed with the actual wrestling in it. I think they actually did really good, way, way better than the last match they had. And Maxine has been improving more and more. She still has a few issues. I feel like with some of her kicks are in the wrong spot, and there was a lot of selling that Becky had to do, which became almost like overselling, but like she really didn't know what to do with some of those moves because she wasn't expecting them to be in the spot that they were in. Like I remember one of the drop kicks, she was definitely supposed to kick her probably like at the top of the chest or like at least the torso area, and she hit her in like the thigh area, and it was just like Becky didn't really know what to do there, which is just growing pains. But it did kind of feel like they should have had Becky lose here. I think a double count out would have been better. I know they're trying to like set up a little bit more, but like Becky is a champion, and I know countouts are kind of like, well, she lost because she kept her eye off the ball, but it just, I don't know, it didn't really sit well with me. Like I said, not 100%, 100% opposed to it, but I feel like this is just kind of filler for whatever Becky's gonna do with this title. I feel like they should have changed it up something or had a rematch for the week afterwards or something set up already if this is what they're going to go with the storyline. Having a random count out loss, and if they just kind of leave it here, which I have a feeling they will, it will just be kind of pointless. So I'm going to put it up in B. I think it's still a pretty solid match. Then we had Roxanne Perez versus Lyra Valkyria. I honestly really like this match better than the previous one. I do feel like it kind of suffered the same type of thing that they were having with like the main event scene where they just kind of rotate. Like it's Bailey versus the two members of Judgment Day, then it's Lyra versus the two Judgment Day members, and then next week it's them two versus Judgment Day. And I know that's kind of the natural progression of the storylines sometimes you want to go with, but it just kind of feels like kind of pointless in this type of situation because like these they're so talented that there should be something that they're even going for. Like there's no tag team titles, there's no intercontinental title, there's just nothing here that's like why they're fighting. I think I put it in B though. I do think I like the match a little bit better than the last one. I think Roxanne's just a really solid wrestler, and Lyra is also just one of those steadfast people. I think she can go out there and have a good wrestling match with most anybody, and they're just solid matches. So I think that's kind of what we need to do. Backstage, we had Kairi Sane and Asuka talking. Asuka got Kairi Sane a match against Io Sky later on, but Kairi didn't want to do it, so Asuka slapped the crap out of her. I really like this storyline overall. I think there's two thoughts about it. One, I just absolutely love that these women are getting like an actual storyline because a lot of the times with a lot of the top talent, especially that are like from different countries and like their English is their second language, they just don't let them talk and just like put them in a story because they know the wrestling's gonna outdo stuff. But no, let them do this. This emotion, every promo that like EO cuts, especially like on X after all of this, and just talking about how heartbroken she is and all that, is just like amazing work. Like it's just great. So let them do this. Like this is a great story. And the other chain of thought about it is that like this is just so good. Of like it's been a slow burn, but like enough that like we've gotten enough pieces each week that this storyline it has great. It's gonna go right into that tag match, and I think it's gonna pay off with an Io versus Asuka match at whatever next PLE or maybe even a War Games type situation first. But I'm completely on board with everything that this has been. So S tier for sure. Then we had LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso come down. First, it was CM Punk talking about that he wants next. LA Knight believing that he gets next, and Jay demanding a rematch. I really don't think that works. I don't know why Jay keeps doing that because Jay, in any case, would not have the rematch. CM Punk won the title off of um, Gunther. So the rematch thing is completely out of the blue, and I know they're trying to probably do what the count out, but again, that doesn't count there. Like that was your match. Like I don't really get the whole point of putting him in here, and with the whole thing with him and Jey Uso and Roman, it's just like I hate this storyline. It just kind of feels bland. But I think all together with these three guys being the number one contender, I think we're gonna have to get the boiling point of them three in a triple threat to pick who's gonna get there. And I'm excited to see it because that will really then jettison not Roman, Rollins title run. So really want to see how this goes. So I'll put this up in A tier. It's pretty solid. I again just a little confused of why Jay's kind of putting himself in there. Then we ended up having Kairi Sane versus Io Sky. I really like this match. I feel like I did kind of hate that Io took the pin, but I mean, I guess for story wise and that knowing that they cheated, it was something. But it's just it felt so dejected because I feel like Io just has had this up and down year, at least what you see. But this match was really good. I know a lot of people like I always kind of like glance at cage match just to kind of see where people are at on the match just to see if like maybe something I missed or something that it's an overall review, so it's like one of those things you kind of want to know. But this one was rated really low compared to everything else. It's rated as one of the worst matches on the card. Well, I don't say one of the worst. It's what, second out of five. So I guess not the worst, but I do believe that this ends up being probably the best match of the card because it's just so good, and some of those bumps that Io was taking was insane. And I love the start of the match where Io just goes right after Asuka. That is just the coolest thing. So I'm putting it up an A. It was my favorite match of the night. Then we get to the six-man tag match. It was AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, and Penta versus the Judgment Day, which was Dom, Finn, and JD. Kind of a match out of the blue, but I wasn't opposed to it. It was just a really fun match to me. Like all of their styles and stuff just really work together. And Penta, I think just does some crazy crap out there. Same thing with Dragon Lee, that like they just kind of make stuff, and then like JD Madonna is just such a good seller of a lot of those moves, and it's like good and bad for him because like it gets him in those positions, but also kind of gets him in that spot where he's going to take a lot of pins. But yeah, I was completely on board with all this. They mentioned maybe AJ Styles and Dragon Lee being a tag team to go for the titles. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. Definitely want to see that type of match. So there's a lot that might be coming from this storyline. Obviously, Penta will now have a match against Dominic next week for the title, which is interesting too. So I like everything that they're doing here. So I'm putting it up in B. Last but certainly not least, we had the Usos versus CM Punk and LA Knight, and this whole match just was a travesty. I don't know. I like enjoyed the idea of the match. Like it was slightly different than what we've been getting, especially in that main event scene. So I was cool with that, but like it just kind of felt like like it's just why, and I know that they're trying to set up, this Jay being like a little Roman type thing, but I just don't like that storyline. And LA Knight tagging himself in at the last second and pinning Jay just was a really good idea because it was very like LA Knight. But what does that do for Jay? Like Jay's just taken a lot of pins lately, and I think it's just kind of killed him. I mean, he's such an over baby face. I don't know why they're trying to mess with that formula. I don't think it's gonna work out. I think it's gonna end up kind of changing them not to been able to use him as much. So I'll put this match in C. Definitely the worst match of the night, and I don't think there's really anything really that saved it there. The whole episode I'd probably put as a solid B plus. It was a really good episode. Like a lot of these matches were just fun, and even if you weren't really vibing with some of the storylines like I was, there was stuff for everybody here, and I thought a lot of the matches just were good matches. Like I just really, really, really like this, and yeah, that's been my review. This has been Japan, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.